Hey, good morning, guys. Hey, first thing, let's get the rucksack hung up. Again, our fantastic loop with a toggle. And a Mylar spike hitch. And let's remove this 45-pound rucksack. All right, guys, welcome to the Virginia Bushcrafter. This is the channel where we continue to learn and practice the skills of bushcrafting, prepping, and survival. So if this is your first time here, hit that like button, leave a comment, share this video out, hit the hype, and ring that bell so that you will get notifications each and every time I drop a video. So guys, are you ready? Are you ready? So, in order to be ready, I must be aware, I must be prepared, and I must be willing. So, in order to be aware, I have to be aware of my surroundings. I have to know where the ins and the outs are, the ingress and the egress. I know just to my left, about 200 yards, is all public land. But once I go across that road, I'm hitting private land. Do I have permission? Can I use that private land to get on the other side to get to more public land? The egress, as well as coming back, the ingress. Am I prepared? I have practiced with everything in this rucksack. I have used it numerous times. I'm very confident that anything I need to do in the bush, I have the proper tools and equipment in that rucksack with my experience and the skills. And lastly, am I willing? Am I willing to do everything out here today to meet my specified task? If I meet all three of those, I am ready. So again, to be ready, you must be aware. In addition to being aware, you must be prepared. Practice with your tools, practice with your gear, practice with your cutting tools, everything, just practice. And be willing to actually go into the bush and just enjoy it. So with that said, guys, let's get to it. Again, every time I come into the bush, I have a specified task. And today, my task is to talk about and demonstrate the benefits of a 5x7 Mylar grabber tarp. So let's just get with it. All right, guys. So again, today I want to talk about the benefits and the pros of a 5x7 Mylar grabber tarp. They may be called emergency blankets, but here is one. 5x7 Mylar on the inside. This Mylar basically will reflect the heat on you during the winter time with the radiance of the fire, and it will also block the sun from you by turning the Mylar portion outward. This is very well constructed. It has double stitching. And here's something with the grommets that I recommend. As you can see, they are, again, very durable, but I always put Gorilla Tape on the inside as extra precaution, and then I always put bank line in the grommet. But these are very durable. You can wrap these around you. You can actually wrap these around you. Your body will provide heat, and the Mylar will reflect that heat right to your body. So, but again, my objective today, I am going to make a shelter to show you exactly how this will work and the benefits of it. So let's get started. All right, guys, it is time to make our shelter. Now, what I'm going to do is go step by step in pitching a lean-to grabber tarp, a 5x7 Mylar grabber tarp. It is going to be a lean-to with a floor. Now, it's very, very important, again, to always practice your cover. Something to sleep under, something to sleep in, and something to sleep on. Because we know with harsh weather, it is suggested that we can only sustain ourselves for about 3 hours. So shelter is very important. Again, starting with what you are wearing. But here is the 5x7. As a matter of fact, I have two of them. One is going to be a ground cloth. I'm going to be using some of Mother Nature, 2 hanks of paracord, 8 tin pegs, 2 tarp clamps, and more of Mother Nature. Now here I could, if you have trekking poles, you could use trekking poles. But I don't have trekking poles with me today. So we're going to use as much as Mother Nature as we can. So I'm going to start from the rear and I'll bring you along. All right, the very first thing that I'm going to do is stake down the rear. And again, I have 2 tarps here. So I'm going to put a tin peg in both of the grommets. Here are both of the grommets. So I'm going to put the tin peg in here. and I'm going to secure it. Okay, we have the first one. We're going to go to the opposite corner and do the same thing. Let's see here. Okay, so since there are two tarps, again, into one grommet, into the other. Make sure it's in line and stake it down. There you have the first two. Okay, the next thing that I'm going to do, I'm going to use a tarp clamp. Since there are only two, this only has 4 grommets, one in each corner. I like to make my shelters as secure as possible. So I'm going to take this tarp clamp. I'm going to put a piece of rubber bicycle tube inside for extra padding, because this is going to be tightened down and I don't want it to go through the tarp. So let me put you in focus. Let's see if you can see, okay? So I'm going to take this and I'm going to just put 2 together. Actually, I'm just going to put the 2 tarps together. And tighten it. That's it right there. And then I'm going to put a stake in. And I'm going to secure that once I put the other one in, and I'll bring you back. All right, the rear portion is secured. Let me show it to you again. There is a tin peg in the corner, in the right corner. Tin peg in the right corner. A grab a tarp clip, maybe halfway in or a third, but I have 2 of those, and that is to secure. And the reason why I want it so secure, again, is because we're going to have a ground sheet. So we're going to secure that. We're going to be on our way to pitching a very nice shelter that can be warm. It can keep you warm and also can keep you cool. All right, let me get the other tent stakes. We're going to continue. We always want to avoid putting the metal onto any portion of the tarp. keep from damaging. All right, so here is a grommet on the left side. And guys, I always put duct tape or Gorilla Tape around here as extra security when I purchased it. And here is the other one. So as you can see, what we're doing, we have a floor, and we're going to have a shelter, a lean-to on the back. Guys, this is very, very easy to pitch. You can use this, you can use a ridge line, but today I just prefer not to use a ridge line. So now it is time to utilize more of Mother Nature. Okay, so the next thing that we're going to do is utilize some of Mother Nature and some paracord. And what we're going to do is just put this loop through this grommet. And run Mother Nature through that. We're going to do the same thing to the other side. So once again, a loop goes through the grommet. Okay, and part of Mother Nature goes in. Okay, the next thing we need to do is now lift this up. And we're going to be using, let's see, a Marlin spike hitch. Let's see, do I want to use a trucker's hitch or tall line hitch? I think today I will go with a Marlin spike hitch and a trucker's hitch. That's it. All right, so let's get going here. All right, guys, so here we go with the Marlin spike hitch. Again, we make a loop. We go through this, I guess this is the working end. We just make a loop here. And we take Mother Nature, and we just put the Marlin spike hitch loop around Mother Nature. And we just pull this to make it tight. And then we're going to stand this up. But we're going to do the other side exactly as we did this one, so that they will be even. All right, guys, so here you can see that this is the Marlin spike hitch. This is how it's been held up. So I'm getting ready to put the tent peg into the ground more so. And now I'm going to make, let me just bring you in focus. I'm going to make a trucker's hitch, and we're going to be almost done. And this is the reason why it's good to learn your knots, practice your knots. There's so many knots, but you're only going to use a few. At least that's for me. So here's the trucker's hitch. Just going to pull this. And we are just about done. Just want to pull the pole out somewhat. And there you can see that is the finished product. But I want to bring the middle. I want to take the sag out of the middle. So I'm going to pour this in. Okay, so I'm going to make some adjustments off camera, but I'm going to make this tighter. I'll bring you back. All right, there you have it, guys. Again, 8 tent pegs, 2 maybe 20 feet hanks of paracord, 2 grabber tarp clips, and this is your shelter. All right, guys, so as we know, shelter is very vital. Shelter, fire, water, food, navigation, first aid, communication. But I have completed putting up the lean-to Mylar grabber tarp shelter. So let's just take a look at this. All right, there you have it. The shelter that reflects radiant heat, and it's quick and easy to pitch. Just a matter of only 6 tent pegs, and this is very useful for rescue. If you need to be rescued, you can just go to the rear. You can go to the rear and just take your Gorilla Tape and put 2 or 3 X's on the back. So this can be used for rescue. The orange with the Gorilla Tape signals rescue. Good use for survival. So again, guys, heat retention, insulation, the shelter provides it. Again, you can use this as a blanket. Either one of these tarps that's on the ground or at the top, you can use it for a blanket or shelter wrap. And again, you see the ground sheet. So this is great for weather protection, windproof, except you're quite open from the front and 2 sides, but from the rear there's windproof, reflection. Again, if you wanted to reflect the heat away, you would just turn this top shelter on the other side or pitch it on the other side. And the good thing about this, these 2 tarps are lightweight and compact. Very lightweight and compact. They're lighter than a 10 by 10 or 6 by 8 or 9 by 12. And these, again, these are very good for emergencies. You should always have one of these in your kit, in your backpack, because for number one, it's very versatile. Again, a survival blanket. This will prevent hypothermia. It's a great makeshift shelter. Again, you have ground cover. Got a floor tarp. Signaling, emergency, insulation. Again, now here, I just tied it off with some of Mother Nature, made a loop knot, used a marlin spike hitch, used a trucker's hitch on both of these poles. I did the same thing. And again, just staked it out here. And the leaf out of the way and staked it out here. And in the back, I use, again, it stakes out this corner and this corner, but I also use grabber tarp clips in the rear to secure it even more so. Now, if this was a very cold day or night, I would just put thick leaves up here. For insulation. But this is a shelter that you can be comfortable all night long. With a nice fire right here. Again, nice fire with lots of wood. All right, guys, let's get to another task that it is so very important to practice every time you come into the bush. That is firecraft. Again, using a ferro rod, flint and steel, and always bring a man-made tinder with you. I have cotton balls and Vaseline, but there are many other. But practice with using Mother Nature, because Mother Nature provides everything that you need. So again, that is the shelter for today. All right, guys, I'll be back with you. Hey guys, this would be a very comfortable night of sleeping. I'm just taking a quick break. Even though this was so easy to put up, but I say this is the importance. Just come out, practice things that you did 2 or 3 years ago that you learned. It's always to practice and practice until you never get it wrong. You know, I've often heard people say, well, once I get it right, I'm going to go out in the bush and try it. Well, I think that only keeps you from going out into the bush. So my theory is practice and practice and practice until you cannot get it wrong. So again, this is it's a lean-to, and I just decided to use a ground sheet. Again, with a nice fire right there, that radiant heat is just gonna come circulate. I will be fine all night with a nice long fire. Unfortunately, I'm not here all night, but this is something I haven't done in a while. But I really feel that there's so many different tarp shelters. You're only going to use so many. So I wanted to try this one. And again, this one, I can even let it down further if I needed to. That's what I mean by it's very, very versatile. But yeah, you know, I'm on a bedroll. If I were here all night, I'd have another bedroll underneath me, or I'd just go and get some of the branches or the boughs and make a bough bed. You know, there's so many things you can do in the bush, and I think one of the best ways to actually learn this is actually getting out and doing. As I mentioned earlier, you have to be aware of your surroundings. I know ways in and out of here. I've practiced and being prepared. I have practiced with everything that's in my rucksack. I'm going to do some practicing with my kukri later on today. And you have to have the willingness to do it. Whatever it takes for you to get your task accomplished. But only in the bush. But anyway, guys, I'm just going to take advantage of this this nice quietness. Maybe for about 5 or 10 minutes. I'm going to get up and I'm going to practice my firecraft. See you then. What I'm using is a kukri that has a flat grind as well as a hollow grind. Now I could easily saw this, but it's called practice. With this flat grind, it does, I'll talk about that. Hey guys, so this is a kukri. Let me just take my gloves off and show you something here. Again, a great reason to come out and practice. So, I just chopped a piece of wood that normally I would use a saw, but this kukri, you notice here, this is a flat grind all the way down. There is no bevel or angle change. And it just has a micro bevel here. All of this is a flat grind. But when you get to this area here, it's a hollow grind because there's metal that has been ground out. And these gaps that you see, this is a fuller to add balance and speed. But this is a kukri from a big box store known as, what is the name of that store? Tool Supply, I think. But again, it's not the tool as much as it is the person. Again, a flat grind. This is really good for slicing meat and so forth, but it chops just as well. Flat grind area here, hollow grind area here with fullers. So guys, I'm going to continue my practice chopping and I'll be back with you. Again, always safety gloves. And also, I want to mention about the grip that I'm using. With this kukri, you will notice there is a finger choil right here. So when I'm chopping, I'm not going to use the hammer grip. I'm using a pinch grip. And I'm extending it by using this portion here of the knife. When I want to do fine tasks, I'm going to use this finger choil right here. But for what I want to do now, I'm going to be using this portion of the handle. All right, let's get back to work. Or should I say not work, practice and fun. That's heavy, but, and see with this flat grind, it sticks a lot. And it seems like when you chop, you're losing wood, but I guess the same thing happens when you are sawing. It bites really, really well. If you were out in the bush and you didn't have a saw and you have this kukri, at least you have a chopper. Practice, practice, practice. You do your job, the tool will do its job. All right, guys, getting ready to have more fun. I'll see you when I get a lot more of these. All right, so since we know this budget-friendly Mossberg Mossy Oak kukri chops well, and also at the end I wanted to experiment. Instead of using the pinch grip, I started using the middle finger grip. Found out that even works even better. So again, that's why it's important to come out and practice. So what I want to do now is make some kindling. So let's see how well it makes kindling. So let me put you in focus. This should not be difficult at all. Again, with this flat grind, as you can see how it will stick. So I'm going to insert more of the blade. And again, in the bush, you don't have those nice flat chopping blocks. I can immediately tell the difference when it's using the hollow grind portion as opposed to the flat grind. Watch what happens when I put it on the flat grind. Use the flat grind portion. Well, it goes back to the hollow grind, as you can see. And I know it's going to carve well. Oh yeah. Look at the beautiful feather sticks. So guys, I'm going to continue to enjoy my practice here, and I'm going to bring you back when I'm done. Very nice. Another way of making feather sticks . Again, do you necessarily need feather sticks? Yes and no. For practice, it's fantastic, but you never know when you're going to need that skill. Even though the wood is wet, I'm very confident that with the use of feather sticks, it's going to catch on to that tinder very well. Again, many ways to, well, I'll do another one. This is a good way to, just if you want curls. Curls work for kindling just as well. But again, to use the finger choil in its proper manner, fantastic curls here, guys. And this is using the hollow grind portion of the knife. You're going to get some very nice curls using this method here if you're intentionally wanting to get curls. So guys, I'm going to continue this. I have a lot of curls here, lots of curls, but it's called practice until you can't get. All right, guys, I must say this kukri here with the flat grind and the hollow grind from Tractor Supply, that's the name, the Tractor Supply, works well. Again, with this choil, with fine carving, I can chop by just moving my hand back here, but I found out what works best for this one is using my middle finger and chopping. Works very well. So the tools I've just used are the Agawa 24-inch barrel and the mossy oak kukri. And as a result, what I have built is a fire lay, a log cabin fire lay. And I did this because the wood is wet. I want air to get to it rather quickly. So let's fire it up. All right, guys. So again, firecraft. You should always practice firecraft every chance you get. So I'm using some fat wood shavings, and just for the fun of it, I I'm using some magnesium, very little magnesium. So let me put you in focus and let's get this fire started. There you see the fat wood shavings and a sliver of magnesium. Okay, let me put you in focus. There we have fire, and into the log cabin it goes. All right, again, I'm using this method because this wood is wet and I want it to dry quickly. So this is the method I'm using, and now I'm going to put in some feather sticks. It's a feather stick. Let's you can get a look. As you can see, the tinder is catching it, or it has caught. So it's just going to dry this wood out relatively quick. I am going to put the remainder of the curls in the fire. As you can see, the smoke is from the wet wood, and you can, by hearing the crackling and popping, that is the wood drying out. All right, guys, so I'm gonna let this burn downward to get some coals and have a meal. The crackling and popping of the log cabin fire lake. Again, I use this because the wood is wet, but look how quickly you can get flames. And being in this shelter, there's nothing but radiant heat. All right, guys, I'm still getting the heat, the radiant heat from the fire, and it does feel good. But it's time to start preparing a meal. A very simple meal today, which is going to be some broccoli. Nice, beautiful broccoli. And we are going to fill this with some water, let it boil. And then we're going to add some ramen noodles to it. Or maybe I should have steamed it, but yeah, the log cabin fire is performing just as it is supposed to. I'm just waiting on a bit of more coals. But in the meantime, I can go ahead and start boiling, getting the ramen noodles ready. So I'm going to place this on the edge. I'll be right back. Okay, I'll show you. This is the fire, and I just put the broccoli on the edge there on top of some coals. So I'm going to give that a little while, and then I'm going to add some noodles. But in the meantime, why not have dessert before the meal? Nice Pop-Tarts, s'mores. Yeah, again, guys, I came out here to practice. I practiced my shelter. I got to practice with a cutting tool that I have not used in a very long time. The Mossy Kukri. Let's see, the proper name again is the Mylar Kukri. And again, a budget kukri that works well. Again, it just requires practice. And this is why it's good to practice with different cutting tools, because this kukri requires a totally different hand position as opposed to the other ones that I have. Again, a choil for fine carving works well, feather sticks, notches, and the finger grooves. And this one works best by using the middle finger as opposed to your forefinger. So that's why it's good to get out and practice, and you'll find these things out about your tools. Again, the saying is, practice, practice, practice until you can't make any mistakes. All right, guys, so I'm gonna eat these s'mores and watch this fire. All right, guys, well, the broccoli is in the foil paper just staying warm, while the ramen noodles are now on the coals. And I just kind of restoked the fire, put a lot of the logs that next to the nesting cup. So maybe in about 5-7 minutes the ramen noodles will be ready. I'll toss the broccoli in the ramen noodles and I'll be back with you. Well, guys, the meal is done. The only thing I'm thinking now is that I wish I had more broccoli, but suffice it to say, this will do. and it is really hot. You can see this. Of course it's hot because I just took it off the fire. I kept the broccoli next to the fire. That did it good. So yes, the ramen noodles taste like ramen noodles. But the best part is going to be the broccoli. Good, because I also put some lemon pepper and some curry. And what else is it? Lemon pepper, curry, and what is it? Cilantro in here, so it adds some taste. Yeah, the broccoli is really hot, but I'm ready to eat, you know. And again, if you're going to make a fire, you may as well eat something, you know. Again, firecraft. I mean, I don't see how you could stay in the bush without a fire. You're gonna, again, you have to cook, purify your water by boiling it. Yes, you're gonna need that fire for warmth, serenity, to keep predators at bay. That fire serves a number of purposes. Light, you know, at night, you're gonna need light in addition to your candle or your flashlight or headlamp. So again, I say fire is probably the most important skill to learn for coming into the bush. This was the first time that I've actually made a log cabin fire lay, because again, the wood was wet. Yes, and I made some feather sticks and some curls, but I know the fastest way to dry that wood out is to give it a lot of air, and the log cabin did just that. So again, practice. There's just so much to practice on, especially with the cutting tools. I mean, to me, it's a lot of fun trying out different kukris, different knives, different steels. Again, this kukri that I have, $15 kukri, very strange blade. Again, it is a full flat grind with a partial hollow grind and has fullers. So it works well. And I think it's called Tool Supply or something like that. I can't remember. But when I saw it and it said $15, well, $14.99, it's like you can't be for real. The lady checked it, it was that amount. So I said I may as well try it. And like I said, I think this is the first time I've used it this much. I have brought it into the bush before, but never chopped with it to the extent that I did today. And again, learning to use a pinch and your middle finger. Some kukris I'll use my forefinger, some kukris I'll use the middle finger. So that's the way it goes. But it's all about learning and practicing, you know. And again, you have to be ready when you come into the bush, which means being aware, being prepared. Don't let it be the very first time you come into the bush to use your tools, you know, or using your tools the very first time you come into the bush. And you have to have the willingness to do it. And it's all fun. It's all fun. And when you have those three things, you are ready. So I'm going to go ahead and finish this meal. I'll be back with you. took off my other shirt, kind of cool. I'll have to put it back on, but this is going to keep me warm for the meantime. All right, I'll be back with you. Well, as you can see, the fire is out, or almost out. I will douse it with some water, stir it up, make sure that it is not warm. And the meal was good. The ramen noodles and the broccoli, it was good. And of course, I always have my Gatorade electrolytes. So all in all, I think this was a good day of practice. I'm already looking forward to next weekend. I have some things in mind already, but I really would like to do an overnighter in this tarp configuration. I may do that, but I also may add some sides with some other Mylar emergency blankets, put them on the sides. So I'm thinking about doing that. I will lower the front a tad bit, but all in all, I think that's a good shelter. You're going to get a lot of heat from a fire that is this close to you, with plenty of wood, plenty of fuel. So guys, this has been fun. I'm getting ready to clean up. And again, one tool that I did not use today was my axe. I didn't use the axe today. The only tools that I used was the kukri and a saw. I do have another cold steel with a Scandinavian grind, basically for carving and feather sticks, which I did not use. So sometimes you'll bring these things in anticipation of using them, that you're going to practice. So, but I mean, the practice with the kukri, it was a lot of fun. And now I'll just go home, clean it, stand the edges up, and I'll be ready for the next cutting tool next week. But guys, I'm going to go ahead and straighten some things up. I'll be back with you. The fire shelter. The fire is fully extinguished. Okay, YouTubers. Hey, it's been another exciting day. I got a good amount of practice in today, and I'm looking forward to next weekend as well. Again, I was able to set up a Mylar grab a tarp shelter, a lean-to, something that will radiate heat, keep you warm. You can use it as an SOS or put 3 X's on the back for rescue and so forth. I got the opportunity to use the Agawa Borel 24-inch saw, as well as a mossy oak kukri, which performed very well. So this was a good day. I actually got to cook as well, but it's all about practicing, and so that when you come out into the bush for an extended period of time, things become muscle memory. And again, once you are aware and you are prepared and you're willing, you are ready. So with that said, guys, go ahead, hit that like button, leave a comment, share this video, hit that hype, and hit that bell so that you will get notifications each time I upload a video. All right, guys, so again, thank you for joining me. It was a pleasure, and I'm looking forward to seeing you on the next video or next weekend. And as always, like father and son, mother and daughter, human in nature, we're all akin, in some form or fashion. So just get out in the bush and have some fun. All right, I'll see you next time. Stay safe, everyone.